Greetings all. I had someone ask on the last video for a little more clarification on powers, so I'm following up with this short bit that focuses just on that. So if we look at Hawkeye's data file, we see that he has two different power sets. So one represents his bow and arrows, and one represents his constant training. Some heroes only have one power set, and that's fine. And occasionally, depending on the situation, you can even have three. I know on the Marvel Plot Points website, they have a bunch of different power sets you can add. One of them is a Quinjet. So if you had somebody flying a Quinjet, if Hawkeye was flying a Quinjet as a watcher, I would allow that for three power sets. It's a pretty specific thing. It's a temporary thing. So, you might have a situation like that. Usually it's only one or two, though. Each power set is going to have at least one power trait. It can be disabled, but that's the nature of a power set, is it has at least one power trait in it. Usually one SFX and one limit at least. And in Hawkeye's case, he just has that one weapon die in the bows and arrow weapon set, but he has lots of SFXs to help define how that can be used. So there's sort of a subjective interpretation that goes on where you kind of have to just decide, does this apply, doesn't this apply, based on what you're saying you want to do. And like I said in my last video, that's why it's so important to be clear about the thing you're trying to do. You don't just go, okay, well, I'm being rushed by bad guys. I'm going to grab my solo die, and I'm going to grab I want to use my trick arrows. You say what you want to do. Hawkeye wants to do a flip off the box and shoot 3 arrows and make a joke. Like, you describe what it is you're doing, and then you select your dice. So anyways, that's kind of his power sets, and I got this off of the Plot Points website as well. So if we throw some examples out, yeah, okay, sorry, I skipped a paragraph in my thing, but it's fine. So let's say he's in a warehouse. There's a team of Hydra goons running at him. His goal is to simply stop them from getting too close by any means available to him. So he's going to use his bow and arrows power set. He selects the weapon die at D10. Of course, he has his affiliation and his distinction die in there as well. There's 3 bad guys, let's say, so he can use that area attack SFX, and that's going to give him 2 extra D6. And he notes that he's going to get to keep 2 extra effect die as well, or effect dice as well at the end when he rolls or after he rolls. So you have to pay attention because Hawkeye, he just added 2d6 to his pool, and he also has the focus SFX. So he can take 2d6 and replace them with 1d8. That's what the focus SFX does. You can use your SFXs as many times as you want to, as many times as they apply, and you can use more than one. So he selects the superhuman accuracy die at D10 from his constant training power set. That definitely applies, but none of his SFXs or limits or anything else in that second power set apply. So when all is said and done, he is adding the D8 for solo, the D8 for world's greatest marksman distinction, D10 for weapon, a D8 for the area attack because we made it into a D8 using the focus special effects, SFX, whatever we call it. D10 for superhuman accuracy and D10 for combat master. We can throw that in at the end. So he actually has a couple different possibilities depending on how he wants to use that focus special effects, because he can combine even the D8s. He can combine the D10s into D12s. You kind of can just ripple it out like that. And of course, keeping 3 effect die. Same example or same situation, but now he doesn't want to kill anyone. The last one, we're just shooting arrows and presumably dealing physical stress. This time, we're trying to be a little bit more non-lethal, so we're going to use that trick arrows. So again, we assemble the pool the same way: D8 solo, D8 world's greatest marksman, D10 weapon, 2d6 area attack because that's still a thing that's going on, D10 superhuman accuracy. But then we go back, and the order here doesn't really matter, but just for clarity's sake, if we look at trick arrows actually says, when creating trick arrow related assets or complications, add a d6 and step up the effect die by +1. So we're going to, hang on, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Man, this is really confusing. It's like when I'm fighting myself in these examples. It's so easy to go off script. I don't want to skip something. Um, he grabs superhuman accuracy die at D10. The pool from powers is currently 2d10 and 2d6. We're going to add another d6 from trick arrows, and remember to step up all our effect die, right? So now we can apply focus. Not bad. We'll be keeping 3 effect die and stepping each one up. Yeah, okay. So I said all the things that I wanted to say. So if you look at the pool, you can have a d6, 3d8, 3d10, and you're going to keep 3 effect dice, but remember that you're going to step those up. So if you choose a d6 for your effect die, it's going to become a d8. In order to cause that complication. And for some mobs, some low-level enemies, you can stress them out with a D8. So you can stress somebody out with a complication too. So you would essentially say, I have them all tied up, or they're all knocked out from the gas arrows or something like that. And then as a final example, same kind of a situation. He's being rushed, but he doesn't have any arrows. So either the Watcher activated his limit, or he activated his limit, or just narratively speaking, he's out of arrows and can't use his bow. If he didn't have arrows but he still had his bow, you could in theory have him swing his bow and count the D10 weapon, but you obviously wouldn't have. Well, you could use the area attack SFX because that's not specifically for arrows. But let's say it's broken, so he doesn't have access to that power set, all right, or the limit has been activated, so he can't use it. So we're just going with solo die, versatile combatant as a distinction, which fits, enhanced reflexes out of the constant training. But check it out. He has that versatile SFX where if he's not using bow and arrows, he still gets to add in some dice. So he has either 3d6 or 2d8 that he can add in. And then, of course, Combat Master. So he has some choices about his pool, but it's important to note he's not using the area attack SFX, so he's only keeping 1 effect die. So if it was a mob, if it was like mob affiliation dice that was attacking him, he would only be able to stress out 1 with his karate moves or whatever. So that's just some super quick examples, specifically using power sets from a person who has a lot of what he does is like that. Not all characters are like that, but when you have characters who are very sort of versatile and he has just you have to come up with a power set that covers. Is it a punching, an arrow with a punching glove, boxing glove on it? Is it a poison arrow? Is it an explosive arrow? You kind of have to decide narratively what's going on, and then you have to decide mechanically how you're going to use the dice to represent that. And some heroes, it's not like that. You're fighting against someone like Luke Cage. He doesn't have a lot of SFXs because he's punching things or he's resisting things. Like, it's not super detailed. It's not a whole lot of different things that could happen. So I hope that helps. If it does help, let me know. If it doesn't help, let me know, and I can make another video. I can edit this one. I can explain a little bit. Like I said last time, this isn't, I'm not some amazing YouTube video maker or anything. I'm just using free software and a mediocre microphone and free data files, and I just really like the system, and I'd like to see more people out there playing it because it really is great. It's very fun, and every time I've played it, people have just had a great time. So yeah, let me know if you have any other questions, comments, observations. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. We'll see you next time.